And now your State Game and Fish Department brings you Outdoor Oklahoma. Outdoor Oklahoma is a public service feature prepared and presented to further acquaint Oklahomans with the state's wildlife resources, hunting and fishing, and the activities of the Oklahoma Game and Fish Department. And now Outdoor Oklahoma with Orville Allard as your host.
Oklahoma is fast becoming the playground for millions of Americans. Thousands of sleek pleasure boats cruise our inland waters, and excellent sport fishing is the heritage of our people. The whispering swish of the curling bow waves reaches into remote inlets. The end of a perfect day finds happy fishermen returning to the docks. The silvery trails of many boats fade into gentle waves, lapping against the wooded shoreline, and the tranquil waters remain unchanged. Late summer fades into autumn and early winter. Countless thousands of waterfowl wing their way above ghostly cottonwoods to rest and feed upon our lakes. Short bursts of winter sometimes come to Oklahoma. The woodland becomes a glistening fairyland. Mother Nature lies soft and lovely beneath her glittering coat of ermine. With the hunting season over, many wild ducks find our lakes a haven of refuge. Food is plentiful. The hunters have laid their guns aside, and Oklahoma sportsmen feel a warm glow of pride as they watch the birds grow sleek and fat. The largemouth bass lurks deep beneath the frozen surfaces. He is seldom safe from the many ardent anglers in Oklahoma. Tomorrow the ice may be gone. And even now the Oklahoma angler is laying plans for an early bout with this scrappy fellow. Oklahoma waters teem with wily game fish. Their strong instinct for survival creates worthy opponents for the skilled fishermen. In home workshops, by cheerful firesides, nimble-fingered sportsmen mold their strategy into tangible form. Here, the modern sportsman drops the burdens of everyday life. The fly tier's vice symbolizes a struggle as old as history, a battle of wits between man and fish. Age-old drama unfolds as he skillfully creates a lure which brings quivers of anticipation to his casting arm. Visions of pitched battles grow in his mind. He sees hidden lakes, clear flowing streams, and the fly settling gently to the surface. In the late evening sun, a sudden shower of molten gold erupts before his eyes as the fish rises to the lure. Artificial lures are fashioned with great care. From bits of string and feathers, the fisherman's deft hands create intricate patterns. A slender thread pays endlessly from the bobbin, an unbroken link with ephemeral dreams of primitive man. And the dream becomes a reality. You too may increase the enjoyment of your fishing hours by tying your own flies. Only a few inexpensive tools are required. First among them is the vise, which you see being fastened to the table. Hackle pliers, whip finisher, thread bobbin, scissors, lance, bodkin, and wax are other tools essential to your fly tying kit. The materials from which you can create your flies include colored tying threads, various sizes and colors of chenille for soft, bug-like bodies. Duck wing feathers to be used primarily for constructing wings on the flies. And gamecock necks provide hackles for dressing your flies. These come in many colors and patterns. And of course, the basic item is the hook. These also can be purchased in many varieties and sizes. Now let's follow the simple operation step by step as a panfish fly is tied. First, the proper size hook is securely clamped into the vise with the shank pointing outward, taking care not to damage the barb. Next comes the fly head cement. The cement is carefully applied on the back of the hook. This helps to anchor the tying thread and chenille firmly to the shank of the hook. Then a feather is selected for the tail of the fly. A small bit is carefully cut to the proper length. This is securely anchored into position with a few quick wraps of the tying thread. Note that the tying thread is not clipped following this step. Now the body of the fly must be built up. Chenille of the proper size is selected and attached to the hook with several turns of the tying thread. Then the chenille is wound about the hook to resemble the body of a bug. Next, the hackle with which to dress the fly head is chosen from a gamecock neck. Excess feathers are clipped and the butt of the feather is tied in place. Hackle pliers are used to grip the tip of the hackle and wind as many turns as the length of the hackle will permit. Then several turns of thread are wrapped forward of the hackle to build up the head. Now the head is finished with a whip finisher. And sealed with a drop of fly head cement from the tip of the bodkin. This excellent panfish fly was created in an elapsed time of less than 2 minutes and will provide many hours of fishing pleasure. As the long winter evenings slip by, Mother Nature makes elaborate plans for the coming spring. The willows bring forth new leaves. Green grass appears. And all outdoor Oklahoma is filled with the vibrant spirit of new life. A low moaning boom mounts to thundering crescendo in the tall grass prairies of northern Oklahoma. The greater prairie chicken heralds the coming of spring with one of the most outstanding courting rituals known to the realm of wildfowl. Soon the panfish and largemouth bass will be rising to the flies, The pleasant hours spent in tying flies will soon be magnified by thrills unequaled by any other sport. The fisherman heeds the call of the great outdoors and reaches for his tackle box. In this battered tin box is stored a veritable treasure of priceless flies. Priceless because they were created by him to his own exacting specifications, each fly designed for a special purpose. This collection of flies can be depended upon to produce swift and vigorous action in and upon Oklahoma's lakes and streams. These are panfish flies. The one on the right is known as the western bee, one of the few patterns without a tail. These are known as wet flies. They are designed for bluegill. The wet fly sinks deep into the water, down where the bluegill feed. These are dry flies. They're extremely desirable for raising panfish and bass. They float on top of the water and withstand severe usage in spite of their fragile and delicate appearance. Here are two kinds of streamers. These are wet flies, and bass are often caught on them. This wet fly has been a favorite pattern for generations. It may be tied with single or double upright wings. This is known as the brown bear pattern. This large pattern is intended for bass, and smaller ones are used for panfish. It's also wisely used as a trout fly. Oklahoma's sparkling lakes and clear, cool streams welcome the fishermen to their sylvan shores. Hundreds of thousands of acres of crystal clear waters lie snuggled midst scenic mountains, and the tinkling music of swift-running streams lends cadence to the woodland symphony of historic valleys. The Channel Catfish heeds the call of spring and cleaves the waters with vigorous bursts of energy. He has often been known to take a fly, and when he strikes, mister, you've just tied into real dynamite. Whether you fish with plugs or flies, minnows or worms, or any legal lure, Oklahoma's lakes are yours to enjoy, friends, and your Oklahoma Game and Fish Department wishes you good fishing.
Outdoor Oklahoma is a public service feature prepared and presented by the Oklahoma Game and Fish Department. Be with us at this same time next week when your State Game and Fish Department again brings you Outdoor Oklahoma.